Here's Dr. Dennis Eke Mezier, a public affairs commentator, will be joining us to look at the papers as well as ABS websites. Doc, good morning.
Good morning, Dave and IJ. Good morning.
Morning, sir. You're welcome.
All right, as usual, we'll begin with ABS website, where we'll have stories trending on that side. Federal government raises alarm over Lassa fever, activates emergency response centers. Anambra Health Commissioner Akabiki calls for collective action against neglected tropical diseases. Buhari visits Anambra today, inaugurates Zig's Mausoleum. Zig's Mausoleum, Anambra Information Commissioner Adinoba hails federal government for immortalizing late statesman. As a strike, traders in university communities count losses. CBN cautions federal government on increasing national external debt. Those are the stories that we have on ABS website. For the details and more, as well as for other stories, just log on to the site www.absradiotv.com for those stories. Yes, the story of Zig's Mausoleum is, I'll say, the big story of today. President Muhammadu Buhari will be in Anambra to commission that long-awaited project. Monument.
Well, it's been expected in Anambra State because he may or he may not. I think the point is it's been expected in Anambra State. And the mausoleum about 22 years ago and immortalizing our legend is very important. And what impresses me most is the cooperation and the support given to the federal government by Anambra State government. And I have to thank our son, Chris Mwawezenge, who has been monitoring the progress of the construction, and also the senator representing Anambra Central Chief Victor. From the past stories and other issues emerging, you see them fronting to make sure that that edifice was completed and is completed, and today history will be made. And then, if you have read much about Zig, you see that he has been an international figure, and he has been a person who brought light and knowledge and information, everything to Ndibo and then Africa in general. And that's why it's called Zig of Africa. So once the museum is opened up because it has a conference center, library, and every other thing, most of us will go there for our research work.
What mean to Ndibo generally?
It's an imposing edifice that whenever you are in the world, you hear about Zig's Mausoleum. People, intellectuals would like to go there for research. Scholars would like to go there for research. And then it becomes a scene of sightseeing. For instance, I've gone to that of Tafawa Balewa in Bauchi and see the extent of it. All the relics, the materials he used in life were displayed there. And also, Zig's, most of his books, most of his personal things he used that made him what he is to Zig of Africa will also be displayed. So it becomes a pilgrimage center for information-seeking personalities and then researchers.
Yes, the case of Lassa fever, as we surfaced, the federal government yesterday raised an alarm on Lassa fever.
Yeah, Lassa fever, it's associated mainly with the dry season, and where these rodents will run away from the bush and then try to get into the houses for search of shelter because of heat and every other thing. My suggestion is that people should be cautious, keep your environment neat, and then kill all rodents. Prevention is better than cure.
How neat will you keep your environment, and
clean your environment?
It will not attract rodents because do they?
Most of you that eat and leave remnants of what you have eaten in the night should also finish and then wash your place, do every other thing, so that they will not smell what is inside their house and then start coming. So the lazy ones should go up and doing now, knowing that once they smell. You have remnants of it.
Apart from the ones in the house, what about the ones out there that they will ask you, don't soak gari again, because where they spread it during process, that's possibility that the
even on the road, you see some of these women spreading their abacha and every other thing. So this time,
so what do we do with those ones?
It's more dangerous to buy them and then eat them. So what I'm suggesting is that people should feel secure by protecting whatever they eat. And then if you are the ones that eat outside, avoid what you eat outside because you don't know the contamination. So marry your home and then be able to eat what is in your house.
All right, all right. We'll run now to the Daily Sun. On the front page of the Daily Sun, we have confusion over mode of transmitting poll results. Polls results. Results will be made electronically, REC. It is not possible as there is no legal backing, INEC. That's the banner story on Daily Sun. We have Danjuma alleges plot to rig Taraba elections beside the nameplate there. New minimum wage. Labour takes battle to NAS as presidency transmits bill. Soldiers killed 58 bandits in Zamfara. Rescue 78 victims. APC accuses Ohanes of sabotaging Buhari's campaign. There's another story there. Tears as Bade, ex-CDS, is buried. Those are the stories on the front page of the Daily Sun.
Let's first of all look at the confusion that is coming from the transmission of polls during election.
Are you saying transmission? Because
it has been transmitted back to
yeah,
base. So let's
it's the INEC that has the power to do. It's the election management body we have in Nigeria, and it's true. The act has not been signed by Mr. President. Maybe by tomorrow, because he signed another this stability bill yesterday, and maybe by grace of God tomorrow he will sign it or something. But let's work on what we have. The mode of transmission is INEC that has the power to dictate the way the election will go. Individuals like us, we are just
yes, but considering the fact that the Constitution have not allowed for transmission electronically,
then they will go back to manual collection.
all right?
and then all these amendments, we are back to square one.
Because the act has not been signed. And that's
Why wouldn't it be signed?
That's why I'm saying let us continue praying. But
Praying.
it's getting late.
Praying
It's getting late.
for-
So let's maintain the status quo and be able to do what we need to do. Let's do the needful by being conscientious and then do our assigned duties, especially presiding, returning, and supervising officers. Do your job. This is a national assignment. And any mistake may ignite violence and then.
And with all these controversies coming shortly before the election, do you see
Controversy is
do you
always
see
part of
this election
it's
holding?
always part of the election process. It's part of the electioneering gimmicks. Let me use the word. Yes, individuals will start to accuse one another. You are doing this, you are doing that. But let INEC chairman be mindful and then let him maintain his promise and let him know that his personality is involved.
Okay, let's look at this not ASU, NLC, and the minimum wage that has been
yes, the minimum
transmitted
wage.
to
The
National
minimum
Assembly,
wage.
and the National Assembly, by the way, is on recess.
The proposal for 30,000 naira, the last meeting of the National Council of States recommended 27,000, and then every group now will be on the National Assembly because they are the elected people. 360 plus 109. They will now go and discuss.
They have powers to recommend. I think their position is advisory.
Where is the oversight function of the members of the National Assembly?
No, I'm not talking
Have
about
you-
National
have you
Assembly. I'm talking
watched
about the Council of...
Council of
They have done
State.
that. That's what I'm saying. That we are
They
now.
were the people that recommended 27,000.
Then
As
they-
against 30,000 that was
then they
agreed
said
on.
that what
And
they-
we are asking, do they have the powers to do that?
Governors are saying that what they'll be able to pay is 27,000. So we now have 30,000, 27,000. Then push it to National Assembly. By transmission,
No,
So
it's
there's a
not, no, it is
possibility-
not what is in place. What is in place is that they said pay 27,000 to the state and they pay 30,000 to the federal.
are you sure
That is
it's
what
categorized like that?
That's the arrangement.
The-
The Council
but-
of State approved 27,000. The federal government now said for their workers, they'll add 3,000 to make it 30.
In all things, what will happen once you transmit with the National Assembly, national members of National Assembly will now take their own decision.
Also, you
And
believe,
maybe it will be final, and then the president may also say, I will not sign it again. So
All right.
the thing will continue to linger. It's
All right.
never yet an end.
let's now go to the Daily Times. On the front page of the Daily Times newspaper, in proactive step, federal government transmits new minimum wage bill to NAS. Bill up for deliberation today by federal lawmakers. Reps say 2019 budget replete with irreconcilable discrepancies. FAC, federal government gets 5.57 trillion naira, states 165 trillion naira in 2 years. That's coming from the National Bureau of Statistics, NBS. Discrimination against fiscally challenged attracts 1 million fine as Buhari OK's bill. Federal government signs 2.6 trillion support agreement with Global Fund to tackle tuberculosis and AIDS. Ex-IGP Idris to be blamed for police inability to tackle security challenges. Dan Bazao. Nigeria's economic confidence falls by 3% in 1 year. Those are the stories on the front page of the Daily Times this morning. One of the stories there, Nigeria's economic confidence falls by 3% in 1 year, according to a report. Do you see any prospect of getting better, or are we dropping again?
Well, let's finish the election and then know where the country is going. Because it's very important. The leadership of the country is very, very paramount to building the economy of the nation.
Okay.
We started having downturn on the economy 3 or 4 years back before this election.
I'm not insinuating anything, but I'm saying let us watch and see the leadership is going.
All right. Discrimination against fiscally challenged attracts 1 million fine as Buhari OK's bill. Finally, the disability bill has been passed and Buhari signs.
I congratulate the beneficiaries, and then we're also looking forward that by God's grace he will sign the Electoral Act so that this time is approved.
All right. We move on over now to the Punch newspaper. On the Punch, reps detect errors in budget. Other ministries to reconcile figures today. President transmits minimum wage bill to National Assembly. Alleged 7.65 billion fraud. Court adjourns Ojikalo's trial indefinitely. Only 12 states are funding workers' pension accounts. Coming from PENCOM. Atiku didn't travel to US as my aide, says Saraki. Fraud. FDB bars Nigeria firm and MD. INEC recruits 814453 ad hoc staff for elections. Dismissed soldier to die by hanging for killing girlfriend. And then some other stories making the headlines on the front page of the Punch.
Let's look at this error that were dictated by the House of Representatives.
Well, it's part of the oversight function. I think in budgeting it is garbage in, garbage out. Then the final point is for members of the National Assembly to scrutinize where every MDAs they will come for budget defense, and then any error dictated will be corrected, addition or plus or minus.
All right.
Last time it was a padded budget, and this time
we're not no longer talking of padding this time.
No, you say that budgets in Nigeria are mostly garbage in, garbage out, meaning that they just copying what they had last year into the new year.
That's not what I'm saying. I said it's input making. You put your own input. The MDAs have made their own input, pushed to National Assembly, then they will come for defense, then they're part of the oversight function. Yes.
Now, I want to ask a follow-up question to that. Under the President Buhari administration, severally from the beginning, the first budget he supervised, we saw several, some people called it stones in the budget, some people called it padding. Is it that it became worse under this administration, or that before now, the reps and National Assembly were not putting their eyes on ground to detect these errors?
Whatever, even in your eyes, at times you discover stones.
But when the stones becomes continuous?
When the stones becomes continuous, you look at the person who is bagging it, who is involved, the farmer, and then the distributor. So in this case, you look at what the budget section of the MDAs are doing. And that is why more important that the National Assembly will scrutinize the budget and be able to come up. What you are saying, whether in the past they were not looking at it very well or not. But remember that the federal the mantra of the federal government is checking corruption. So maybe it's part of what they are now trying to do to assist the federal government to check corruption. Whether you call it pattern or stone is there. The essence of it is to remove it so that it will not be a bottleneck towards implementation of a realistic budget. All
right, we'll take the Nation newspaper and the Guardian together now. The Nation. Lagos-Ibadan speed train to be ready next month. APC enraged over PDP's 388 million naira US lobbying deal. TUC chiefs wage battle to National Assembly. Supreme Court refuses to hear 14 pre-election cases. And then some other stories there. 2.5 million benefit from cash transfer. Troops kill 58 bandits. Sarina suffers total collapse. No pact with Saraki on par. Those are stories on The Nation. Then on The Guardian newspaper, on the front page of The Guardian, we have sacked Tet Fund boss accuses minister of demanding 200 million naira bribe. Buhari vows more anti-graft battle. Atiku flays president. INEC probes card reader in radio presenter's possession. While democracy has failed to improve Africa's living conditions by former President Obasanjo. There are other stories there, but this is the much we can take this morning on the newspaper headlines. So finally, on this issue of Tet Fund boss accuses minister of demanding 200 million naira bribe, and we're seeing President Buhari's continuous reiterations on fight against corruption.
Well, I think it's medicine after death, because he has to reveal the information earlier so that people will be aware. Now that he's now saying it, it means that it doesn't all go well. But let me say that just like the person in JAM did his own, he should also have done so. And part of the demand is that ASU is that Tet Fund should be tidied up. I think it's part of their 7-point demand. So maybe the federal government acted in that capacity to be able to enthrone new life.
And this Lagos-Ibadan railway is going to be ready in a few months' time. And people here are still crying, but just yesterday or the day before yesterday, I heard that one is going to cross Onitsha. Okay? And then we started asking, is it another campaign strategy? Because I know before now we have cried that there's no rail crossing this place.
Yeah, I think the Minister for Transport, our brother Rotimi Ameji, also categorized the Southeast as part of the beneficiaries of the second phase of this railway line. What we are saying, give us our own. Because what is good for the Lagosians would be more better for the Anambra.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much. That's much we will take on newspaper headlines. But before we go, let's take this public service announcement. Traffic advisory on President Muhammad Buhari's visit to Anambra State Commission Zix Mausoleum today, Thursday, January 24, 2019. This is an appeal for understanding as traffic diversion will be undertaken today, Thursday, 24 January 2019, along Boromeo Roundabout, Army Barracks, Oka Road, especially around Obi's Palace, GRA area towards Holy Trinity Basilica, and prison and marine areas. Members of the public are please requested to avoid these routes and obey traffic and security agents. The diversion will last between 9 a.m. and 2 p.m. All inconveniences are highly regretted, please. Announcer, Mr. C. Dawn Adenoba, Honorable Commissioner for Information and Public Enlightenment. And that is it on newspaper headlines this morning. I am David Okwasile. Dr. Dennis Ekemeze joined us this morning. Thank you for coming.
Thank you. It's my pleasure seeing you again after me.
All right. Thank you, Doug. Thank you.